Yeah.
That warm coffee.
Content strategy. AI on the
Good
rise. We break it down so
morning.
you can open your eyes. Scroll, stop, and
Ah,
post some
okay, gotcha.
visuals that bite me,
So
lit up
you
your
weren't
brain
able
like
to
I
go
need
live on
light.
X
Sweat the trends, don't
because
stress the stacks.
you don't have a
Social
premium
surge,
account. So we'll
just
fix
got
that
your
later.
back on track.
Okay.
Commercial real estate never looks
Good
so
morning,
fly.
everybody.
We
Welcome to
bring the
Social
knowledge to
Surge.
your
We
digital
are
sky.
doing
Feeds are moving fast. The game
Talk
right. Every post
Tuesday today, so very excited about that. Got what the heck, Mr. Hector Regalado, who is joining me right over there. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Social Surge. Again, Tech Talk Tuesday. Lots of stuff happened in AI this past week that we figured we should talk about and discuss. DB, good morning. Thanks for joining us over on the gram. There's a lot that absolutely happened over the weekend, and and we want to talk about it, and especially how one of the things that I found the most interesting about everything that happened this past weekend with AI is the fact that it kind of some of these people who said that AI was going to be replacing jobs are now saying that AI is far too expensive, and they're going to have to hire humans to do the work. Good morning, Holly Pennington. Thanks for joining us on the gram. Yeah, so part of what we're talking about, there is a company. This was reported in Business Insider. Company spent $500 million. Initially, I thought it was 500,000. I thought it was $500,000. $500 million in 1 month using AI tokens. And then we also have Uber. Uber came out and said that they blew through their their entire AI budget in 4 months, and they spent $3.4 billion with a B, not an M. Good morning, Scott Levitt. Thanks for joining us over on the gram. And Alan Buchanan. Good morning, sir. Speaking of Mr. Alan Buchanan, he is going to be on the show on Thursday. We are going to be talking about the sequence. We're going to be talking about brokerage and coaching. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about travels with his grandchildren, which I think this is probably, that has to be like the epitome of the greatest, like you're the greatest granddad ever. And we're going to talk about that. So I can't wait. So don't forget to set your alarm and make sure that you join us on Thursday as we talk with Mr. Alan Buchanan. Okay, so yeah, $3.4 billion on using AI. And Microsoft had the same issue. Uber had an issue. Microsoft employees, I don't remember how much they spent. It's a lot of money. And
they went over budget too.
Yeah, they went over budget as well. And so we're coming down to the fact that as much as so for individual users, like if you're using AI in the audience, you're probably just spending the $20, or maybe you're spending $200 a month on Anthropic for Claude Cowork or Claude Code or whatever. But at an individual level, that's totally manageable. Uber had 5,000 engineers?
Software engineers, yep, all using Anthropic.
So, of course, you're going to blow through.
I still don't know why they have 5,000 software engineers. Uber, it's not a software company.
Well, no. Well, is it not a software company? I mean, they have an app, right?
Well, no, of course they have an app and they have a website and they have all that stuff. But 5,000 engineers, how many engineers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know. How many does it?
To me, it seems to be a little bit much. So what are they working on that it takes 5,000 engineers to work on? It's not the daily upkeep. They're working on some projects that we don't know about yet. And we know that Uber and Amazon and Walmart, all working currently on delivering packages via
Mm.
drone. So my guess would be something along the lines of they're working on something that's going to help that part of their business.
Okay, so you're thinking that it's not what they're currently working on. It's those engineers are meant for future projects.
Yeah, definitely. There's Uber's putting a lot. They're hedging a lot on the on delivering via drones, and it again, just like you said, I mean, if it's used on a local level, individual level, right? That doesn't take a whole lot. You got the controller in hand, and you're good to go. But what they're working on is not an individual handling just a delivery. It's the whole back end of navigating that drone from pickup to delivery. Now, will they have redundancies? Are they going to have humans involved as a pilot somewhere to watch? Of course, because that just wouldn't make sense if you didn't have somebody watching over it. But they are certainly working on something, and more than likely, it's on that drone side that's going to make it possible for them to do deliveries.
DB says instead of paying people, but want people to stay loyal. This is true. So typical. So, I mean, that's exactly it. So if you have been paying attention to anything, okay, so let's backtrack. So both Anthropic and OpenAI valuations looking to be in the trillions of dollars when they open their IPOs, which is supposed to take in place in October or November of this year, something like that. If I'm recollecting correctly. And so it's interesting because we have these companies that they need. So we titled this show AI is infrastructure, right? Because AI only works as well as the infrastructure that is designed to house it and to power it, right? And this comes into commercial real estate because obviously we're talking land, we're talking warehousing, we're talking a lot of different things. One of the interesting things that, again, this weekend that came out is that Nvidia is actually looking at experimenting with distributing AI into private homes. And by that, I mean like on private property. So they're wanting to put like a little, I don't know what they would be called, AI storage facilities, like
little micros.
Yeah, little micros on properties. Good morning, Lindsay, joining us over on the gram. We're talking about AI today as infrastructure. So Nvidia wants your house. They're exploring mini AI data centers. That's what I was looking for, data centers. And we've actually talked about this before with another, Oh, you and I have talked about this before, something you had heard about mini nuke reactors, right? On properties.
Yeah, they're actually deploying one. They're supposed to launch either late this year or early next year. Yeah.
Oh, so we've talked about like private property being to power stuff, and now Nvidia is looking at exploring these mini data centers. And so the from the pictures that I saw, it's like just like a little shed or something, right, on your property where it's this mini data center. And who knows what that's actually going to look like? Who knows the resources that are going to take? Because obviously that's one of the things they've talked about when they're talking about AI data centers is water. Water is a huge necessity for these centers. And so what does that mean? And then, I mean, we got 3 acres out here, so it's not like I would say no to it, but I'd want it.
Why not make a little extra on the side? Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, I constantly get text messages from people asking me if we want to sell the acre that we have. That's because the way our land is set up, we have an acre and then we have the 2 acres with the house on it. But anyway, they always ask about that acre. And every time I text somebody back $1 million, nobody responds. So,
Oh, what a shame.
I mean, we could always
Well,
hope.
so based off of that concept, I mean, there are property owners that have that Verizon or AT&T or whatever other communication company, they need a tower in the area, and what do? They go to a homeowner that has a little extra space, and they go in and they lease that little section
Right.
for that. And to be honest, the property owner makes out pretty decently on that end. So if Nvidia is looking at something like that to help with the AI footprint, I guess that's really why they're looking at it instead of building massive buildings to house the AI, looking at it as in a smaller footprint. Um, it's reasonable. I don't see why it wouldn't be something that could be used or that would work. I mean, honestly, it's not a bad idea.
Again, well, you'd have to. I'm going to be on the flip side and say you'd have to look at the resources that it takes to actually power something like that.
So yeah, okay. So on the power side, I'm sure that they're going to come up with some kind of solar system or some kind of other alternative way of powering it. As far as the water goes, the water is just like the radiator in your car. It's a circuit. It just continuously goes through. You don't continuously add water unless you got a leak in your radiator somewhere into the system. You fill it once, and it continuously cools the system, and it just runs. Is it perfect? Of course not. It's not perfect, but it is. That's how those systems run.
Okay, so that actually makes more sense. I like how your conjecture was that they're going to use solar power. Come on.
Hey, we got panels here too. They can use that.
I don't even want to talk about the stupid solar panels right now. The solar panels that we don't have batteries set up for backup, but that's okay.
We're halfway there.
We're halfway there. Okay, so this is the other thing. So Lindsay, exactly, what are the health implications, EMF exposure, 5G being so close to your home? So that's a great question, and that's part of that discussion, right? What are not just the environmental implications, but what are the health implications? And is it just your home, or as we've seen and we've heard, and if you've been on the internet anytime about 5G and people having 5G sickness, like, these are actual legitimate concerns. And as somebody who worked in radio and pretty sure basically microwaved my third kid. He's fine. He's 19 now. It's all right. But when I worked in radio, like, I literally had a tower, like I had an antenna above me that pointed to the tower. And I ended up having my son early, and there's like a whole other, I can talk about it. I don't have to share right now, but like there were actual clear implications that something had happened. And so, I mean, I'm not discounting that at all, because I truly do believe that if I hadn't been working at the radio station, everything would have been fine. Like I said, he's fine. Everything's good with him. But I mean that there were complications. That's all I'm going to say. So I do think there is something for that. And so I don't want to discount that at all. And that's another thing to take into account. Does it just affect the homeowner? Does it affect the homeowners around? Those are all questions that we're gonna have to talk about. So, everybody thinks that AI is magic, and it's not. We're talking giant warehouses full of computers. They need power, they need cooling, they need water, they need land, they need construction, they need fiber. And so, I mean, this is all directly related to commercial real estate, right? Because there's lots of people involved in that. And data centers are becoming one of the most important asset classes in commercial real estate. In fact, it would actually be pretty cool if we could get somebody on in industrial who deals with data centers. Maybe I can talk Nick Eichhorn to coming on, and because I know they're doing stuff in West Texas with data centers. But if AI is becoming as essential as electricity, will data centers become the power plants of the next generation? And that's a great conversation to have, right? what's going to be happening with those data centers? Are they going to become the next power plants? Can they become the next power plants?
Those are all good, legitimate questions. I mean, as far as things are going, we really don't know much about it. It's going so fast, right? Everything's being built. Everything just kind of, what's that saying? We're building the airplane as we fly, right? But yes, in this case, it's actually true. We're building, but we don't really see, at least on our side, right? From the AI companies and things like that. I'm sure they have plans and they have, there's things that they are looking at as their goal. But for us, just sitting on the sidelines looking at this being built, we really don't know where we're headed with this.
Ooh, I'll have Simon on, definitely. Thanks, Alan.
Yep. Well, now.
Quit clicking. You weren't clicking, so I was clicking. Why are you clicking?
Okay. So yeah. So back to what we're talking about. Yeah, we don't know where this thing is headed. There's definitely a plan on their end, but for us, we don't know what's going on. We don't know where. I mean, Elon's talking about building them out in space. Actually, that's probably one of the most effective ways of doing it. You have constant power, and and it's cooled. You don't have to worry about water. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's cooled all the time, and it's powered all the time. So doing it out in space, that seems to be a little bit more of a reasonable place to build them, honestly.
I can't believe we're actually having this conversation where you're saying it's reasonable to build AI
data centers
in space. That just seems like the weirdest thing to have come out of your mouth in a really long time.
But it's legitimate, though. It is very legitimate. I mean, to put something out there that requires constant power.
What do you tether it to?
You don't. What are satellites tethered to right now?
Oh, I suppose. Now I feel silly.
It's just a giant satellite.
Okay, so then what happens when it falls out of the? Okay, now I'm catastrophizing the whole thing. So it falls out of the sky, and there goes Earth.
I wouldn't say that, but yes, but it is a definite, legitimate way of building these without all the environmental issues that people are currently concerned about.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, that's actually, if we're talking about, health implications and stuff like that. If they were to actually, if, which it still seems like science fiction to me, if that were to happen, I'm sure that would be potentially a much safer route. James Milner's joined us over on the gram. Good morning, James. We are talking about AI as infrastructure, what that means, everything that's happened this past, it's been crazy this past week. We had OpenAI and Anthropic got their valuations in the billions and trillions of dollars. They're supposed to be doing IPOs, which will be interesting. And then we have information about different companies who have blown through their entire AI budgets for the year in 4 months, Microsoft being one of them. Uber was another one, $3.4 billion in 4 months. And mostly because they didn't put limits on what people could use. There's also reportedly another company that spent, and now we don't have the name of that company. This was just from Business Insider. And it was actually from an Axios survey, and it was $500 million in 1 month that was spent on AI because they didn't put limits or parameters on any of their engineers. And talking from a personal perspective, spending $200 a month on Cloud Cowork is not a big deal. However, when you have 5,000 engineers all using tokens and just building whatever the hell they want, obviously that money is going to add up. So here's a couple fast AI things, weird jobs that we came across. So the AI barber, which Mr. Regalado, you mentioned, you were like, that's not an AI barber, it's a robot.
It's a robot. It's not an AI. I mean, if you're looking, is it completely artificial intelligence? It's a programmed robot.
Right. So what are we calling AI, right? Like AI nowadays. And, you know, instead of, I was watching the video and it's like just this robot arm where it's shaving the guy's head. And all I could immediately think about is like, what if the robot gets really angry and just starts stabbing? That's where my mind immediately went. I think I'm good with my hairstylist. In fact, I will be seeing her in a couple of weeks so she can dye the gray away. But I don't think it's something, I don't know. I could imagine our 19-year-old son going and doing that just once, just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But I don't know if consumers are going to trust it. You know what I mean? Remember the Flowbee?
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
I always wanted to get one just to like use it on something and say that I had a Flowbee. Anyway, if you don't remember that was the vacuum cleaner that cut hair.
Yep.
The next thing we have a pet translator. Allegedly, you can translate what your cat or your dog is telling you.
That would actually be pretty interesting if it actually works. And I mean, I don't even know how you would be able to know if it actually works. I mean, but okay, let's just say on the offhand, you know, that it does actually work. That'd be pretty interesting having a chat with Fido.
I don't know. I think I would rather talk to the cat. I'm pretty sure that if I were talking to our dog, our dog would be like, I saw a squirrel today. I saw another squirrel today. Oh, look, I saw another squirrel. That would be his conversation. Whereas the cat would actually probably ignore us just like she does now. So
yeah, there wouldn't be much of a conversation with the cat. The dog, well, but yeah, that actually would be pretty fun just to play with.
Another headline that we got: Canva and Adobe and Gemini have now come together and birthed a big, beautiful content creation baby. The creative tools are becoming AI native. This one really matters to all of our friends who are marketers and really all of our friends who are trying to create content at scale, right? So one of the challenges and issues I've had with Gemini is with image generation when you use Nano Banana. And allegedly it's gotten better, but once something stops working for me like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to wait. I find I waste more time trying to get it to correct the thing than if I were to just take it and put it in Canva, separate layers, take out what I don't like, and then put in what I need to, right? Like it's faster if I just go ahead and do it myself versus trying to prompt the AI, be like, no, their eyes are blue. And then I get like eyes that look like cartoon characters. Like that's not what I need. So this should be interesting to see how Canva and Adobe are working in Gemini. Also interesting to note if it's just like an AI, like if it's an API plugin, or if this is part of like something that Gemini is offering, right? I have not investigated that, so I don't know that, but Adobe's not cheap, right? That's the one thing why Canva is great. It's $12.95. You get all these services. That is something that I think about quite a bit since we have used Canva for a really long time. I wonder what like their server capacity is because we have so many files on Canva that are like, you know, stuff that we've uploaded, stuff that we've created. To me, it seems they have to have like storage facilities somewhere, right? Because there's a lot.
Yeah,
so it, so that hold on. So that being said, but Adobe is expensive. I mean, you and I both remember back in the day when, and this is for an anniversary gift, you got me Adobe Audition CS6, which for me, I was very excited about that. So people don't get all upset because he got me a software for our anniversary, but I was doing voiceover work and I needed to have that because I was working off of, I think, 3. I think I was working off Adobe 3.
Yeah.
So getting 6 was amazing, but you actually were able to buy the product. It wasn't a creative suite. And now Adobe is like, what, 60, 70 bucks a month. And you get the Creative Cloud. But if I'm only using Audition or if I'm only using Premiere Pro, what the hell do I need all these other programs for?
Yeah, no, they made it unaffordable, especially for the small creator, because you're looking at licenses that, renew every single month. And then if you decide you want to end it, you have to make sure that all your files are off, because if not, you lose everything you've ever worked on. We ran into that issue with our daughter as she was going through Digipan, and she needed Adobe. So we, obviously we provided that for her. And but at the end of her school, it was, you need to get your things off. Oh yeah. No, I mean, really, literally, hurry up and get it off, because this is just she no longer needed it, and we didn't need it. So why
Right.
have it?
Right. Yeah, I wasn't using Adobe Illustrator anymore. I found alternative methods. Obviously, I found alternative methods to Audition. I guess people don't realize before the Creative Cloud, before CS, you used to be able to do a lot of video editing inside Adobe Audition. So I used to take all of my video content and put it in there, and it was a hell of a lot easier than Premiere Pro. And then this was before Premiere Pro came out. And then they took that video editing capability out of Adobe Audition when they made the next iteration or generation. If I could find my old program, I'd probably load it up onto one of the computers. But it is a program that takes up a lot of space, and you have to think about it when you're computing and how much capacity your computer has. So a couple real quick things also happening in tech, since this is our Tech Talk Tuesday. GTA 6 is coming out in November, which I'm sure everybody who is in this audience is really thrilled about that. iPhone 20 is allegedly supposed to be a reinvention of the iPhone.
So on the iPhone 20, if everything that they're saying is true about what it's capable of doing, it's going to be amazing. That really will revolutionize quite a bit about what the actual on the camera side of the phone will do, because it's going to actually have an aperture. It's not going to be a digital where
you mean now, like a DSLR? It'll
open and close just like your iris. Yep. So that's going to move photography on a phone from a strictly digital format to a almost conventional. So basically you'll be able to, instead of taking your DSLR, you'll be able to use your phone with as a DSLR. It'll replace it in essence.
Okay. That makes it more interesting to me and to you, because we go to events and record clients and all that stuff. So that actually, maybe.
Oh no. For creators, it's going to be amazing. But again, the talks are still going on about it. Nothing concrete has come out that is said, yes, this is definitely going to be on the new iPhone. But if it does, it will change how phones are used as a camera and as a video, because it obviously works both the video and photography.
Yeah, that it's going to make it can make a huge difference. It'd be better than like seeing the dude at the gym set up his DSLR so he can talk to the camera. Anyway, that's another topic of conversation. Yeah, and last but not least, before we leave, I want to talk about the OpenAI lawsuit. So if you are unaware, there is a class action lawsuit against OpenAI because OpenAI has been using all of our chat conversations.
What?
Even the ones that are supposed to be private.
What? No.
They've been using all of our chat conversations and actually selling that information to Meta and to Google.
That is amazingly. That's a surprise. I don't know if I've ever heard of anything like that.
I don't remember that being in the terms of service, though admittedly I didn't read the terms of service. I think that's probably why there is a class action lawsuit,
Yes.
because it's understandable if it was an open public conversation, but when you specifically select that this is not to be shared with anybody else, you would assume that that meant nobody else, not that OpenAI is using that and actually selling it to Meta and to Google to train their AIs. So again, you know, it's kind of, it actually goes back to the 2019 Cambridge Analytica scandal with Facebook. Did you actually read the terms of service? You know, did you pay attention to everything that was being said? And you know, where's the responsibility ultimately lie?
Well, I do remember that when that security function, right, the do not share, it was in response to Elon having said that they were sharing that information across, and so OpenAI's response to it was, let's go ahead and make it so that people feel safe about using our platform. And they made it, they came out with that, you know, that little disclaimer. Would you like to basically secure your conversations? And you had to select, you had to actually click on that. And so that supposedly settled it all out. But obviously it didn't really mean anything.
Nah, we lied. It's fine. It's fine. All right, everybody. We're going to get going. It is Tech Talk Tuesday here on Social Surge. I'm Mo Regalado. Over there is Mr. What the heck? It's Mr. Regalado, Hector. And we appreciate you guys being here on Thursday. Alan Buchanan will be talking the sequence, brokerage, coaching, and of course, travels with his grandkids. Can't wait to see you guys. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Social surge. Watch your brand thrive.